that both of these players play that can give them a little bit of an edge. Ryan Antonucci has a Tech Heroes Medal in this deck, which is really interesting, reducing the HP of the Mew VMAX by 100, but now it only gives up 2 prize cards.
That is fascinating as choices go. I mean, it's a card that I've heard murmurs about, that some people are taking it in, but to actually see it played in a list that's already doing so well, that's very interesting to me.
And this will be interesting to see play out as well, because Ryan is playing the Path to the Peak version of this deck. So we see 3 Path to the Peak and 3 Lost Vacuum in this deck, as well as 2 Lost City as well. So plenty of ways to try to bump those stadiums, get them out of there, and make sure you can draw, and then try to shut down your opponent and slow them down as much as possible. And if there's ever a matchup to show where this can be strong, it's this one right here, the mirror match.
Yeah, it really is. Now, going back to an earlier point where you were saying about how, you know, in terms of the Fusion Strike build, that is better going second, it's important to note that both of these players are playing the Fusion-less build of the deck. So both of these playing just the 4 double turbo energies, so that actually makes winning the coin flip even more important.
Absolutely. See those prize cards going out. Each player prizing a Lost City. Actually, Angel prizing 2 of them.
Ooh.
Both players also with a Forced Seal Stone in the prize cards, which is pretty interesting to note. That is a super important card, and something that we should note as well, Ryan actually is only playing 1 copy of that card.
Oh, not playing, okay, yeah, the 2 copies. We've seen that, 2 being quite common in a lot of lists, but I guess Ryan just opted for the 1, so actually not going to have access to that, basically.
Looks like the game is underway, and Angel will be going first, which is an immediate advantage. And I already see that key card sitting here in the hand. We're going to play it right away. Battle VIP Pass.
You got to love opening with that and getting any 2 bases from the deck. And really, in the Mew deck especially, like we said before, probably the deck that benefits the most from Battle VIP Pass and has like the most synergistic deck building strategy with it, being able to discard it for fodder for Chromatic later on, but in the early turns, really setting up all your Genesects and Mews to draw all the cards of Fusion Strike system.
Mew VMAX maybe has the strongest draw engine in the history of the game, where you can just fill your hand up to 6 cards multiple times in a single turn, but it's all about getting the multiple Fusion Strike Pokemon into play. So Battle VIP Pass is a card that just makes too much sense in this deck not to play it.
Yeah, it really, really does. And interestingly enough, off the first one, Angel's opted to grab 1 Genesect, but also opted to grab that Oricorio straight away.
Yeah, very interesting. This is a card that can be important in the mirror match. It does force an additional modifier if you're ever wanting to reach for a 1-hit KO, which that is a way with Ryan going second that he could get back into this game, is get a big 1-hit knockout on Mew VMAX in combination with some disruption like the Marnie in the Path that we know he plays.
Yeah, very much so. And already they're pretty good setup with the Ultra Ball going to be able to get second Genesect, actually setting up the board very, very nicely with 2 Mews and 2 Genesects already, and as well as the Oricorio. So already drawing up to 5 with the Fusion Strike system. Yep,
great turn here for Angel. Definitely love to see it. We'll see plenty of cards drawn, and still looking for maybe 1 more Genesect to just kind of complete this board, make it as strong as possible. Chromatic and the Silene hitting the discard pile. Silene is a really cool supporter in these Mew decks because it can allow you to get extra cards back from your discard pile, extra resources like power tablets that have already been used.
Yeah, it's a really great for that reason. We, of course, saw in the finals of the Lille Regional Championships, of course, the vital final turn where he was able to use Silene, double head to get 2 power tablets back to get a KO and a Blissey to take the win. Fabio Battisella, that was an incredible finals match to watch, and showing the power of Silene there.
Now we see another Genesect being eyed up. Battle VIP Pass a little weaker here, only getting 1 Pokemon, but I think Angel's just fine with that. Get that other Genesect out of the deck, fill this bench up, and we've got 2 more big Fusion Strike systems incoming very shortly. Yeah,
so that is now the full bench ready and rearing to go. Angel's going to be very, very happy about that. Maybe doesn't even need to see that much more this turn. Going to go for the Chromatic still, just discarding a quick ball. And it's going to be a Tails, unfortunately. But then that just fins the hand out to draw more Genesect.
Yeah, people always say, like, oh, if I flipped Tails on my Chromatic, it was useless. But the truth is it was not. You're minus 2 cards in hand, which means you just get to see 2 more cards off of the Genesect.
Which is exactly where you want to be. And yeah, Angel doesn't really need much more here. So going to play a quick ball just to fin a Marnie out the hand, but obviously not going to grab anything because there's nothing more that you can grab that you can put down. Just going to... I guess at this point he's just trying to thin out his hand and his deck as much as possible to sort of reduce his deck to just the things that he needs in order to take the knockouts to win.
Yep, drawing just a few more here with the Genesect, trying to find as much as possible. When you're the Mew player, when you're going first, you just want to try to get as far ahead as quickly as possible. And usually your prize map is going to be 2 prizes, 2 prizes, 2 prizes. Try to just knock out, 3 in some combination of Genesect and basic Mew V.
Yeah, that's usually how it goes. Oh, that's what Angel wanted to find. That is absolutely devastating. Path to the peak after having just done all your setup, and does Ryan even have an answer?
And I think the Oricorio partially comes into play here because Angel wanted to retreat into it just in case Ryan was playing the Fusion Strike build of the deck.
Right, yes, of course. And because obviously Angel doesn't know necessarily that Ryan is playing double turbo build. He'll find out in a second, of course, but that's something that you can't necessarily assume straight away, otherwise there could be spell trouble.
Great start from Ryan. The Battle VIP Pass does eye up the Genesect V and a Mew. Quick Ball as well can grab another basic Pokemon from the deck. Does Ryan have one of the 3 Lost Vacuum in his hand? He also, of course, plays 2 Lost City. I actually do think I see that Lost Vacuum already sitting there.
Yes, I think you're right. So has everything that he needs to sort of counter this stoppage Angel's put on and actually be able to set up himself.
Now, I actually wonder if there's an argument to not play the Lost Vacuum this turn.
I think there is, yeah.
Because you don't really need anything else. You've got 2 Mew V down, so even if Angel goes Boss's Orders KO 1, there's a Path to the Peak in play, which is also going to hurt Angel, theoretically.
Yeah, because right now, the main thing you want to stop Angel from doing is being able to take the first knockout of a Mew VMAX. And how do you do that? Well, just stop him from being able to draw cards, right?
So that might be what we see Ryan do. Now, there is, of course, also merit to just trying to get through the deck, right? Try to draw as many cards as possible, because you can use only... each Genesect can only use its Fusion Strike system once per turn, so if you use them here and next turn, that's more cards drawn than if you just hold off for a turn, and then your deck is still very thick and it's going to be a little difficult.
Yeah, and I'm sure that's the calculation that Ryan's going to be making right now, but actually, yeah, does decide to just pass.
Great decision here from Ryan. We'll see if it pays off for him. Does Angel have a way to get rid of the Path to the Peak, or does Angel have the cards in hand already? Needs to get this Oricorio out of the active, and I think ideally would like to knock out a Mew, but honestly, I could also see an argument for preferring to knock out a Genesect in this spot.
Yeah, because, I mean, it's less draw, right? Obviously, Angel actually just counters his own path with a Pokestop and then just goes for the Marnie.
Yeah, that is great, and playing the Marnie might feel a little weird whenever Ryan didn't play any additional cards, but Angel just wants to find the pieces here, wants to get ahead, take the KO, find the switching card. That's what he's needing here.
Yeah, and I do believe that Angel is playing Cross Switcher as well, so of course he can find 2 of those at once, can bring out one of those Mews and like knock it out, which would be a pretty good position to be in too.
And yep, this is great. Rotom Phone able to find the switching cart that can move this Oricorio to the bench, so we're going to guaranteed see a 2 prize KO here from Angel. This is an excellent start. Angel is definitely getting out very far ahead.
Yeah, it really is. Although, again, like you said, though, maybe not wanting to dig for the Cross Switcher, thinking that actually it's better to just KO the Genesect. There's just one less Fusion Strike system to use next turn.
Ooh, and the Tool Jammer coming down is pretty interesting as well.
Of course, Tool Jammer, this very interesting tool that as long as it's attached to the Pokemon in the active, Pokemon tools attached to your opponent's active don't do anything.
Right, so this can be a way to kind of counteract maybe one of Ryan's choice belts. Of course, Ryan does also play the Hero's Medal. I don't know that turning off Hero's Medal is the best play necessarily, but something you could theoretically do that would be kind of cute is hit into a Hero's Medal Mew in the active spot with the Tool Jammer on the active, and then retreat the Tool Jammer next turn so that the Mew would then get knocked out.
Yes. I mean...
You would actually take 3 prizes for that, because Hero's Medal says when it's knocked out by damage from a Pokemon's attack.
Oh, that's clever.
Yes,
that's very, very clever. So that could be very, very fun, although we don't actually know quite yet if Angel realizes that there's Hero Medals in Ryan's deck, but I'm sure he'll think about it when that comes up.
Sure. Now that Forest Seal Stone comes into play there for Angel, a huge card for this deck, and if Angel can hold off on using it, that's a great spot as well. Just wait, try to find a specific combo piece later on. Angel is really just setting up almost, this is how you draw it up, right?
Yeah,
this game
really
right
is.
Here.
Like, this is about as ideal gets, as Angel running on all cylinders, firing off another Fusion Strike system that is the 3rd of the turn, and with that Forest Seal Stone, if he wants to right now, he could fire that off and actually maybe get double Cross Switcher if he was going for the Mew, or he could just save it for later. Maybe just save it for a point where he thinks to himself, okay, there's a path out and I want there to not be one, or the other way around. There isn't a path in play and I want there to be one, so stop Ryan. And I'm sure he's probably thinking about that and just essentially he's putting it in the bank, right? He's saying to himself, I want to have access to this when I need it, but maybe I don't necessarily need it immediately.
And Cross Fusion Strike will copy Techno Blast, KOing Genesect, 2 prized Angel, and Ryan with now less draw options available. I think there is a Genesect in the hand. That is good, and I think an Ultra Ball was also drawn for turn.
Yeah, so that's going to be pretty ideal, right? You can just bench a Genesect and an Ultra Ball from the Mew VMAX and start doing a bunch of Fusion Strike systems again. Actually, this is going to...
It's thinking about a Cramomatic, it looks like. On Ryan's end here, I think you really just need to go after something you can KO here. Hitting into this Mew VMAX in the active doesn't feel the best.
No, it doesn't, especially because, I mean, in theory you could KO it, but it's a lot of resources to dig through to get there, right? We do see Chromatic, though.
Big flip. It is a Tails.
So now going to evolve into Mew VMAX and then put down Genesect to do Fusion Strike System for up to 4.
And I think Ryan's path back into the game involves his disruption cards. We know he plays multiple Path to the Peak. We know he plays Marnie. We know he plays Roxanne. These are the best comeback options in this entire format. So if he can piece something together where he's able to take a couple prize cards and then maybe Roxanne, Angel to low, maybe he can find a path back into this one. Trying to 2-hit KO 2 VMAXs feels kind of tough. You could theoretically do that. There's no threat of any sort of Psychic Leap play because Angel's bench is totally full.
Yeah, I mean, that's what the thought process we're going through. There's a Pokestop. Oh, a triple hit there.
That is pretty good. Pokestop just said draw 3 cards pretty much.
Finding a double quick ball and a power tablet. Maybe could consider going for the wombo combo big play there, just trying to get a big knockout in the Mew VMAX. Still think it's unlikely enough that it's not worth it, but it's within the realms of possibility, I guess. I guess the biggest thing, obviously, was with that Tool Jammer out, the Choice Belt isn't really an option for a damage modifier.
Right. It would have to involve getting a Lost Vacuum on the Tool Jammer, right?
Yeah, it would, for sure.
So it's definitely possible, but you need, like, all of your modifiers to do that, so pretty tough. It is possible, though.
And I think Ryan is probably weighing up whether going for it is worth it or not, or maybe instead it's better to just, pick off something else that is a guaranteed 2 prizes.
Yeah, you do need 4 modifiers, so you don't technically need to get rid of the Tool Jammer. You could just play the 4 power tablets. That would technically work. Usually it's a little easier to get 3 power tablets in a Choice Belt, so if Ryan can do that in conjunction with the Lost Vacuum, that would work.
Yeah, and you said first power tablet got played, Fusion Strike System going through again with the second one of 3 available. There is a Choice Belt and another power tablet.
Okay, so we're either missing 2 more power tablets or another power tablet and a Lost Vacuum. Also does still need double turbo energy, let's not forget.
That is true. Actually, does just go for the retreats. Because of course he has a switch card in hand. He wants to get that out of hand to be able to draw more.
Yes, just looking to draw more cards here. Switch card can send the Genesect back to the bench. Wants to thin as much as humanly possible. And
on that basis, does indeed go for the second power tablet. At this point, it does feel like he's really committing to this play. He's committing 4 damage modifiers to get him there.
Needs to put the Choice Belt on the active if he wants to go for it. Has already retreated this turn, so if he wants to go for it, it's got to be on the active. Let's see what he does. If he puts it on the bench, that makes me think he's not going for it necessarily.
Oh, okay, and that would kind of prove it right there. Oh, maybe not. Oh, he's really
maybe he wants to leave the Hero's Metal option open, potentially, but, I mean...
Oh, possibly.
If you could Hero's Metal plus Lost Vacuum, right? That would have to be the way since Tool Jammer is currently turning it off.
Yeah, that would have to be. And you can tell he's really struggling here because there are multiple lines going on here, and I don't think it's necessarily obvious which is the best one to go for, but maybe he feels like he's been railroaded into this path on the basis of having drawn into power tablets already.
Ooh, and I think maybe what he was thinking, because he has 1 cross switcher in hand, does find the double turbo, but does not find another power tablet, and he is all out of draw.
Oh, no.
He's going to miss this KO, only doing 250 damage because of the Choice Belt not working with the Tool Jammer active.
Yeah, so just the 2 power tablets as damage modifiers, meaning, it'll be 250, not quite enough to get the job done, unfortunately, for Ryan, and he's got to be feeling pretty sad about that miss there.
That's sometimes what you have to do with the Mew deck. You just got to go for it. Go all in. Try to hit all the modifiers necessary to get a big, unexpected KO, but sometimes it just doesn't work out.
Yeah, and this was one of those instances. So, yeah. Cross Fusion Strike and a copy Technoblast do 250 damage. I guess the one saving grace for Ryan is that there is no Mew V in play, right? So Psychic Leap is not an option here at the very least.
Oh, and it's actually even less damage because of the Oricorio in play. Let's not forget.
Oh, my goodness, yeah. So, actually, the 230 in that case. Yeah, so that 230 is correct, so after factoring all the math. So yeah, now back to Angel, who's got to be feeling pretty happy about how that turn went.
Yeah, definitely not feeling too bad about it. And all Angel really needs here to close this game out is to KO multiple 2 prizers. Now, this Avery play is pretty interesting. That means there's no boss's orders available, but maybe that means that there's a couple of cross switchers in hand. And I think if you could play cross switcher plus play the Avery in the same turn, that is devastating to Ryan's setup.
Exactly like that. So not only discarding a Genesect because of the Avery, but now carrying another one because of just being able to take a knockout with the Mew. And all of a sudden, Ryan's left with almost no draw at all, even regardless of Path to the Peak being in play or not. There's just no Genesects left.
Yeah, this is looking pretty tough for Ryan. I think we're nearing scoop territory. Move on to game number 2. Go first and hope that your setup can be as good as your opponent's was in this game.
Yeah, I'm feeling the same here. It's one of those situations where, again, the win isn't impossible, but at this point so far out of reach, it's probably, statistically speaking, better to just, give up the ghost and go for game 2 instead.
These are the type of situations where really good players will try to take note of all of their opponent's resources, make sure they know everything that's available for Game 2, and also maybe if potentially they're out of switch cards, right? Because there's always the chance that if there's multiple switch cards already gone, maybe a couple double turbos down, you can play to the out of, okay, maybe my opponent has prized a piece, boss's orders, maybe they get something stuck in the active and deck out becomes an option. That seems pretty unlikely, though, to have happened here. This deck plays so many outs to switch and move. Those are kind of real desperation plays.
Yeah, then desperation plays are really not what you want, the position you want to be in when you're facing this kind of situation down. So, yeah, Ryan's going to be feeling pretty sad about things, as we do see there might be some kind of discussion going on, perhaps.
Yeah, maybe just kind of trying to figure out where exactly we're at with the card draw, how many Genesect Angel has used so far.
Yeah, so of course the Genesect and the Oricorio hit the discard pile off the base of the Avery, so that's all. Yeah, that's all correct. That's definitely how it should be. Yeah, not quite sure what's going on here. We're going to have to sort of get confirmation.
Yeah, maybe they're just trying to make sure the damage on the Mew is correct. It should be 230, right? Because you do 190 base after the double turbo reduction, and then you do plus 60 for the 2 power tablets. That's 250 minus 20 for Oricorio. That should be 230, which I believe is what is there on the dice.
Yeah, it is. Three 6s and a 5 makes 23. So yes.
Yep.
So yeah, hopefully we can get this all sorted very quickly. And like I said, we're not quite sure what's going on yet. As soon as we have word, we will let you know. But yeah, we just want to make sure that everything here is all correct. So
yep, looks like they're just reviewing the damage, but it is correct. And now this Mew in the active will take the KO on Genesect Angel, only needing to take 2 more prizes to win this game. Ryan still with 6 full prizes remaining.
Yeah, that's a really, really bad position for Ryan. There's really not much that he can do to recover. He can quick ball, look through the deck, but I think he recognizes that his back is really against the wall. He'd struggle to even take a KO here, right? Because he's been through so many damage modifiers already that there's no way to KO a completely fresh Mew VMAX, and it's going to have to be Roxanne for the comeback.
Roxanne is a decent step, but honestly, like, what do you even do from... I mean, you're hoping that Angel doesn't find the Gust, right? And you're hoping you can find a Path to the Peak. Put that in play, slow Angel down as much as possible. This active Mew can't attack, but it can just freely retreat into the benched one, which can attack.
Yeah, and because Angel has that double Mew setup going, then yeah, he's kind of protected himself already against that scenario where he gets stuck not being able to attack, and so that's even if Angel just take a 2-shot, for example, on a Mew VMAX, he's still completely fine to do that because he's 44 prizes ahead.
Did you see that Lost Vacuum gets rid of the Forest Seal Stone? A huge hit there, because that would be a way for Angel to get out of this Roxanne. So that is something that Ryan needed to find. Also needing to find the Path to the Peak. Nice grab there as well. Okay, so Ryan does have a way to win this game. And the path is 2-hit KO this active Mew VMAX. So you hit it this turn. Angel doesn't have boss to win. So Angel just retreats and attacks with a damaged Mew. Then you can retreat, attack with your other Mew, knock it out, take the KO. Then Angel has a damaged Mew in play, and if Angel whiffs boss's orders again, you've got a 310 HP Mew that they cannot KO, and you can KO their damaged Mew to close out the game.
This could be it then. This could be the comeback path for Ryan. He's obviously got it all figured out, and he's managed to find the pieces to pull it off. So yeah, here we go. Cross-vision strike, copying Technoblast one more time. Back to Angel to try and find an answer. Just some gusting effect to bring up something on the bench to win. That's really the main thing he needs. But when you're under path and you've just been Roxanne, it can be kind of tricky.
Looks like a couple supporters being grabbed to the front of the discard pile for Angel. Maybe has a PAL pad in hand and wants to put those pieces back into the deck. Yep, sure enough.
Yes, so gonna just put back it's like a couple of Manis, it looks like. Just so get some more draw power going, and just really wants to try and find an out to draw as soon as possible, be it at a counter for the stadium, a Lost Vacuum, or just a draw card in and of itself. Of course, he does need to find a gusting out as well to take the last 2 prizes to win. But
Definitely have to give props to Ryan here. He has found the way to get back into this game. Even as slim of a chance as it is, Roxanne plus the Lost Vacuum to get rid of the Forest Sealstone, plus the Path to the Peak, that is just too much for this Mew deck to deal with.
Yeah, and this is what we say as well about how, I mean, we were talking earlier, oh, maybe it's best to cut your losses and scoop and go to game 1. But if you believe in yourself enough, you know, and if you're in Ryan's position, now you're thinking, oh, no, actually, I still think I'm confident enough in my ability to make a comeback to still try and do this. And Angel just retreats and passes.
Yeah, this is wise. Oh, what a top deck! Ryan finds the second, the second cross switcher in order to take out one of these Mews. That is a absolutely massive draw for turn. Yeah, this was a great decision from Angel. No reason to attack with Mew. Give your opponent a free KO into that Pokemon. Might as well just send up Oricorio and pass for a turn. Try to buy some time, but Ryan top decks the second cross switcher in order to bring up this Mew.
Absolutely brutal, and yeah, Angel playing it safe, but still it not being enough as Ryan just draws the cross switcher for turn and is able to take the free prize knockout anyway. That's got to be rough for Angel.
Yeah, that is a big feels bad. Now Ryan will take this KO and go down to just 3 prize cards remaining, and there's a ton of damage on the Mew VMAX on the bench. Now, this does open up the theoretical play of a Psychic Leap to put the Mew VMAX back into the deck. I mean, you lose to a boss's orders regardless, so you don't really care about having just one Mew V in play and then it getting bossed and KO'd, right? You lose to this Mew V getting bossed and KO'd, so that's something that Angel is definitely going to be thinking about on this next turn. Ryan here, I think, is debating going for the Marnie. He does not have boss in hand, but he doesn't want to reset Angel's hand, which I think is definitely smart. And Ryan actually takes the Forest Sealstone off the prizes.
That is absolutely huge. That means he's going to be able to find exactly what he wants next turn, whereas Angel was kind of really left with not much, it seems like. Yeah, well, actually, that's what Ryan's hand that we're looking at right now, but...
Angel looks like he's just retreating into Oricorio and passing again. Ryan draws for turn and draws the boss's orders in order to bring up the Mew. Ryan Antonucci finds the most improbable path to come back into this game and steals a game 1 from Angel.
An unbelievable comeback from Ryan there in that game 1-1. We'd already counted him out. We said, no, you know, it's all over. He's donezo. Scoop going to gate 2, but no, him proving us completely wrong and finding the path to make the comeback. That was absolutely incredible.
What a game from Ryan, and he said, you know what, why would I concede? I can win. Has the Roxanne, the Path, the Lost Vacuum. He needed to hit that exact combo of cards. He was able to do it, and he finds himself the winner here in game 1. You got to be making plays like that if you're wanting to go 5-0 at an international championship.
And even more so if you want to continue down and go to 6-0, right? Which,
yes.
You know, Ryan is only 1 game away from doing exactly that. What an incredible, incredible series of plays from Ryan there.
Really impressed by that. Now, Angel, after you come off of a game like that, when you were so far ahead and your opponent just found that low % way to come back into the game, how do you adjust to those situations? Because that has got to be just absolutely devastating to the mental.
Rule number 1, do not allow yourself to go on tilt. It's a lot easier said than done, because losing in a way like that is completely devastating, but you have to put it past you. You know, you have to understand that sometimes these things happen. Sometimes, you know, these comeback cards exist for a reason, and they can cause these situations to occur. You just have to think to yourself, it happened, I'm going to just still do my best in game 2 and 3 to do my own comeback, even though things didn't work out for me.
See these prize cards going out. Ryan has once again prized his 1 copy of Forest Sealstone. Also a copy in the prize cards for Angel, and Angel is already moving very quickly here. Is going first in this game once again, and starts it off similarly to game number 1. Looks like a Battle VIP pass slammed pretty much right away. Yeah,
so again, going to be pretty happy with the start. Going to be able to set up his bench pretty ideally. I didn't get quite a chance to see what was in the rest of his hand, but I mean, you're already just going for the Mew and the Genesect, and picking up his hand in a way that implies to me he's probably got another search card in his hand already, ready to go.
Yep, didn't shuffle the deck, so most likely is going back in. Wants to search more Pokemon out, maybe with another VIP pass. Could see something like a Quick Ball, or we will actually just shuffle the deck.
Okay, so maybe thinking about it first and then realizing, no, want to take a different course of action before searching again. And you see, oh, Rotom phone, that makes sense. So we see that 5 from the top. Oh, there's another Battle VIP pass.
Ooh, but the question is, can Angel thin the hand down enough to even draw into this VIP pass?
It's a very good question, and it looks like the answer is no, because it's a boss's orders going on top of the deck and not the Battle VIP pass.
Still a decent card to put on top, though. That might signify that Angel has the double turbo, the Mew, the pieces really needed in order to go after something on the bench.
Quite possibly, yeah. And I guess he's sort of happy enough as well with his setup as it is, with, you know, just the 1 Mew and the 2 Genesects and a pass to the peak as well, and the Forest Sealstone.
Huge. Yeah, this is a really good turn from Angel. Put that path in play. Try to slow Ryan down as much as possible. But Ryan's got Cramomatic. Who cares about Path to the Peak when Cramomatic's in hand?
Well, you care if you flip the tails.
That's true. But, we're confident here, right?
But confident we may be, but how's Ryan feeling? There it is.
That is the question. How is Ryan feeling here? Cramomatic. Oh, actually, he's going to Quick Ball. I thought for a second we were illegally searching the deck, but no. Quick Ball away the Cramomatic, which is probably the more reasonable and safe play.
I did raise my eyebrow for a second, but no, Quick Ball for Mew, that's fine.
This is fine. We'll see if Ryan has anything else. Is there a VIP pass, maybe a Lost Vacuum, Lost City, some way to get this path out of play? Would love to draw some cards. It looks like a couple Genesect in the hand, which is pretty nice.
Oh, wow, because then maybe that makes more sense than not really feeling like he needs the Cramomatic when he's got all these bases ready. And he does have the Marnie too.
Yep, and the Choice Belt and double Turbo Energy, so prepping those cards seems pretty good. Drawing 5 cards. Who needs Marnie Path whenever you can Marnie and then your opponent already has Path in play for you?
So your opponent's done half the work for you, haven't they, at that point? So, it's got to be feeling pretty good, especially given that Ryan has a very, very decent bench set about, not even arguably, visibly at this point better than Angel's.
Now, Angel does have the ability to use the Forest Seal Stone, and I think this is the first time we're going to see this come into play, where it's kind of an interesting interaction, right? The Path to the Peak turns off the ability of all Pokemon in play with a rule box, but the Genesect does not have the ability Star Alchemy from the Forest Seal Stone. The Forest Seal Stone is what has the ability. Genesect just has the option to use it. So it's a really interesting case of just how the wording works out on how these cards are written, where you are able to actually use that Star Alchemy V-Star power with this Mew deck under Path to the Peak lock.
Yes, because Forest Seal Stone, it's a Pokemon tool. It's not a Pokemon with a rule box. Therefore, Path to the Peak does not shut it off.
Yep, exactly.
And they're going to go grab that Mew VMAX straight away off of the Ultra Ball. Discarding the boss's orders that was put to the top earlier. Just thinking, I don't really care about using that too much right now. And now does fire off that Star Alchemy V-Star power. Probably going to be searching for a Counter Stadium or a Lost Vacuum.
It just doesn't feel right to see Mew VMAX flip over a V-Star power, a V-Star marker, right?
No, it doesn't, does it? But that's exactly what's happening here.
Yep, and it looks like Pokestop was the grab.
So, of course, very simply, it's a double utility, right? It's countering the stadium that you put down, but it also is, a way to just dig for more items in your deck. And a lot of the Mew variants recently have kind of gotten a lot of benefit from it.
So Angel here is hoping to find a way to bring up a Mew from the bench and take a 2-prize KO. Maybe Escape Rope, something like that, could be decent. Just you don't even have to knock out a Mew. You just want to take 2 prizes this turn. Somehow, some way. Knocking out this Oricorio is not going to help you.
Yeah, and a pretty decent Pokestop too. We see Lost City getting discarded, but then a Cramomatic and a Choice Bout. Pretty good.
Not too bad at all. Cramomatic can be played right away, potentially. Does discard the Choice Belt, just getting rid of those 2 cards. Ooh, and it is a Tails, though.
Not seen many heads of Cramomatic this series, have we?
We really have not. Let's see how many cards this Fusion Strike system is drawing. 1, 2, so 1 card remaining in the hand as well. A second Power Tablet being played down, and 2 more cards. Double Cross Switcher for the 2 cards, imagine.
One time. Doesn't look like it, though.
And just a pass.
So that's 2 wasted Power Tablets in that case, then, which is really not ideal.
And now Angel's advantage of going first is totally gone.
Yes.
Ryan, it's now basically like Ryan went first and got to play a supporter card.
And also didn't have to waste 2 Power Tablets for nothing. So
yes, for no effect at all.
Yeah, that's really not ideal for Angel at all. And now that, of course, the Pokestop with Counter to Path to the Peak, Ryan can just fire on all cylinders and start doing his own Fusion Strike systems. And I'm fairly sure he'll find everything he needs to maybe even potentially just take a knockout on that Mew VMAX.
Could potentially go for it. That's a big reach, a big stretch. We do know from the last game you need 4 modifiers. And actually with Oricorio in play, I think you would need all 5. So kind of a lot to get, kind of a lot to ask for.
But not impossible.
Not impossible, but I think at this point with Ryan going ahead on turns right now where both players are tied, if Ryan can just take the KO on a Genesect, he would be very happy with that. Just take 2 prizes, and now you become the player who can go for the 2-2-2 prize race game.
Yeah, and that's going to be, I'm sure, what Ryan's actually going for, because first of all, it's a lot easier to reach, and it doesn't require you to burn through all your resources, and it probably produces a nicer prize map for you anyway, so yeah, going to be going for that for sure, as we see there. Ultra being played, and Mew VMAX coming down straight away.
Only thing we're missing here is a way to move the Oricorio, and Ryan says, Double Turbo, aid me in this spot. Get this Oricorio out of the active. We don't need a switch card if you can just manually retreat.
No, and there is that Heroes Medal that we mentioned earlier. There's a sort of very hard to spot in the hand, a sort of completely golden Heroes Medal. It's gold as the medal itself.
Ooh, and that's a little bit awkward of a Pokestop. Does ditch a Mew VMAX right there.
Mew VMAX and a regular Mew as well. I mean, it's not the end of the world. I think this one Mew can probably do a decent bit of carrying for Ryan, especially considering that Angel burned through 2 power tablets for no reason.
Sure.
But it's not ideal.
Yeah, I guess this Mew is going to be safe, so you're not too worried about having to go for the 3 Mew VMAX attacks in a game. Something you like to do sometimes since you do have access to Hero's Medal in this deck, looking like with Ryan taking the advantage here and slamming the path in play as well. That's going to make it even harder for Angel, especially since that Forest Seal Stone Star Alchemy has already been used. Yeah,
that's going to be tough. And of course, Ryan at first trying to use another Genesect, but nope, you put down your path, so you can't do that anymore. But it doesn't matter. Ryan can just take the KO with Cross Fusion Strike, copying Technoblast and taking the first 2 prizes of the game.
Angel pretty reasonably sending up this Mew VMAX, ready to start attacking and trying to find a way back into this one. Does have the energy already needed, but with 2 power tablets already gone, the only way Angel's taking a KO this turn is through Cross Switcher or Boss's Orders.
Yeah, and given that the draw power for the deck is completely shut off, that's not happening. So yeah, it's literally just attacking with the current Mew, which is not ideal by any stretch of the imagination.
And Ryan's playing quickly here. I think he knows the advantage is his to lose, and the Cramomatic Heads flip can grab anything out of his deck that he may want.
Well, I mean, at this point, you probably just want to grab another Mew VMAX and then a means to attack, right? Because obviously the current one can't attack because when you use Technoblast, the Pokemon can't attack next turn. So he does need to find some kind of switching out or another Mew.
Do you see 2 Cross Switchers already there in the hand? So we could chase this Genesect next turn. Now, something interesting, Ryan is not playing any copies of the Echoing Horn that we see in these Mew decks from time to time. So there's no way, actually, for Ryan to take a 2-prize KO this turn and then win the game next turn, unless he went for a all-in 5 power tablet or 5 damage modifier 4 tablet and the Choice Belt play in order to knock out a Mew VMAX.
Which, again, not impossible, mind you.
You really just want to see that happen, don't you?
I mean, of course I do. I mean, it's a wombo combo, but no, very sensibly here, going for the double cross switcher, bringing up the Genesect, and going to go for another Technoblast on a fresh Mew as well, important to note.
Yep, no damage there, and Genesect's Technoblast able to be copied and finds that Forest Seal Stone off the prizes. That is a huge hit. Now, what does Angel have? Oh, I don't see much there in that hand. Looks like an Ultra Ball, but still no way to get this stadium out of the play.
No, not much going at all. And yeah, it's going to have to be Ultra Ball. But I mean, the thing that sucks about playing the Ultra Ball is that you get out another Pokemon, it'll be a 2-prizer, you put it down, and that just means that Ryan can just, do another double cross switcher or Boss's Orders for the game. Yeah,
it's pretty easy for Ryan to close it out if just a 2-prize Pokemon comes into play. But what else is Angel meant to do here?
So that's the point.
I mean, right now the only attack Mew can copy is the Oricorio's Glistening Droplets, right?
Oh, so yeah, you have to. Yeah, you have to.
You almost have to bench something because otherwise you're just doing 50 damage.
Oh, this is just a incredibly bad situation for Angel. Not much that he can do.
What is this one card in hand? Is it the best card ever in the history of the Pokemon TCG?
I have my doubts somehow.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it. It's just going to be 210 damage with the Cross Fusion Strike, and sure enough, Ryan just slamming the Forest Seal Stone, has the Boss's Orders, can retreat into the other Mew and take the knockout on Genesect, winning the game. What a comeback in Game 1 from Ryan, and what a convincing Game number 2.
Yeah, there was no doubt at any point as to who had the commanding lead in Game 2 there. Ryan just putting on an absolute dominant display and sealing this 2-0 victory after, like you said, that amazing comeback in Game 1. Huge congratulations to Ryan.
Yep, Angel's definitely not out of things here, though. 5-1 is an okay place to be. You still just need one more win and one more tie to try to make it into Day 2. But Ryan Antonucci sitting at 6-0 has got to be feeling as good as anyone else in the room right now.
So now in that position where just one tie will lock up his spot into Day 2, but maybe he decides not to go that way. Maybe he thinks, no, you know what? I want to go for the 9-0 streak. I want to go ahead and win all of my next rounds and put myself in the best possible position to make top 8 tomorrow.
And Ryan's not a player who's a stranger to success at international championships. He has actually made top 8 at the North American International Championships in the past, which is, like we've mentioned before, arguably one of the hardest tournaments of the entire circuit. So someone who is very familiar with success. He's also made top 8 at multiple regionals, but definitely looking to make another deep run here in Latin America, here in Sao Paulo, Brazil.
Absolutely phenomenal. So, yeah, maybe now he can maybe start to put himself in the conversation for, this multiple internationals, high-performing players that we see. Not quite got the win under his belt yet, but maybe, who knows, this could be his weekend.
It definitely could be. I mean, the way that he was able to come back in that game number 1 where he was so far behind, those are the type of games that you have to have happen for you over the course of a weekend if you want to win one of these big tournaments, right? There's 3 things that always have to be true to win a major tournament. You have to have picked a good deck for the tournament, right?
Yes.
Made a good meta call, built a solid list. You have to play very well. Of course, that's a given to succeed in the Pokemon TCG. But it's also got to be your day. It's got to have a few things go your way. You've got to have a few things go right, a few cards fall in your favor, and maybe a few unlikely comebacks happen for you.
Yeah, it's like we were saying, Pokemon, like any other card game out there, is a mixture of skill and luck, and obviously skill is very, very important, but like you said, sometimes you just do need things to go your way, and clearly in that game 1, back against the wall, things did go Ryan's way. Yep,
found the exact combo of cards able to come back in that game. That was absolutely wild to watch. I mean, we were both calling for a concession, but Ryan knew he had the pieces available, and that's just kind of a testament to this more unique build of the Mew VMAX deck with the heavy Lost Vacuum, right, with the multiple Path to the Peaks. Ryan knew, hey, I've got this Roxanne. If I can draw these other 2 pieces, I can find a way back.
Yes, and he managed to find that way back, which was absolutely incredible to see. And, it's time again that we see these really, really skilled players make these comebacks, and I think it's one of the many factors that we talked about so many times before of other players that really sets apart the good from the great is the sort of that ability to believe in yourself, and at the same time, although it is a skill to know when to concede, it can also be a skill to know not to concede and have confidence in yourself enough to pull back a game that looks impossible to win.
Yep, absolutely. And just knowing your list as well, knowing it very well inside and out, and memorizing the 60 cards that you've chosen to play for the tournament, which sounds like an obvious thing you should do, but sometimes when these players are kind of trying to find that 59th, 60th card, sometimes you forget, oh wait, I did cut that card last night. I mean, one of those cards obviously for Ryan I think has to be the Second Forest Seal Stone.
Yeah.
That was a really interesting thing for me to see, was that there was just 1 copy of that card in the deck.
I mean, it was like one of those things that was debated a bit, I think, right? When the card first came out, it's thinking, okay, in Mew it makes more sense to play more than 1 because, the other one can just be something you attach to draw more, but then you can only use it once, so maybe it does make sense to play 1 to fit in something else that's more useful, and I guess that's the decision that Ryan came to.
Well, I'm excited to hear what Ryan feels after that match, especially after getting to 6-0 here at LAIC. Let's get down to the stage